Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Tuesday, July 29, 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warda Ahmed and we've got a packed show for you today. So first up, Netflix and Shahid have united in a first ever joint subscription for the MENA region. Qatar is threatening to halt liquid natural gas exports to the EU over their sustainability law and tax, I would say. Shame on you, Anthropic. Gulf investor has slammed the AI giant over their leaked memo revealed by Wired. And finally, Kattan, founder of Huda Beauty, calls out Kim Kardashian over Israel support after a viral Tucker Carlson clip.
As what calls Kim Kardashian the queen bee, the queen bee of queen bees. But yeah, Huda-Kim has called her out. We'll tell you about the whole story later in the show, so stay with us. But very first story, very first start, it's in a first for the region, the Gulf region, the MENA region. Netflix and NBC Group's Shahid have partnered to launch a joint subscription offering for viewers in the Middle East and North Africa. The bundle brings together both major streaming platforms and will be available now via NBC Now, actually, initially launching in Saudi Arabia before expanding across the wider region.
So this joint offer is designed to combine Netflix's global library with Shahid's popular Arabic and regional content, alongside access to NBC's linear TV channels. So it gives subscribers more value and variety, especially those looking for both Western and Arabic programming in a single package.
And this marks Netflix's first ever bundling partnership in the MENA region, and it signals a growing trend of global and regional players working together to capture larger audiences. The package comes with over 21% in savings compared to separate subscriptions, tapping into the region's increasing demand for digital entertainment.
So with the launch, NBC Now positions itself as a digital hub, not just for streaming, but for an all-in-one entertainment experience. It's a bold move that could reshape how content is bundled, distributed, and consumed across the Middle East.
And after its initial rollout in Saudi Arabia, the joint subscription is expected to expand across the GCC and broader MENA region later this year. Dubai, UAE peeps, don't worry, it's coming most probably soon. And as platforms compete for screen time, this partnership may become a model for future collaborations in the global streaming space. And it's very important for these two to come together because, again, you save 21%. So if you're paying 100 riyals in Saudi Arabia, you're getting it, both of them, for now, how many, 79? So it's a good deal. I would take it. I would buy it. NBC, I've heard they have great shows. Again, Shahid is very Arabic, so I always have a problem with subtitles. But I've seen Spanish shows. I think people have seen K-pop, Korean shows. So
I think, what also happened here, Majid? I think it's a case of Netflix actually having the same amount of subscribers that Shahid has in the Middle East. They're both at, I believe, 3.5 million subscribers. And it's Netflix realizing that this is a region that wants to hear their own voice, that wants to see their own people. And there is only so much budget that they can put into developing shows for the people in this region. I feel like the one show that probably stood out the most was Rawabi School for Girls, but I'm pretty sure they even canceled it. So I think that them collaborating with Shahid, it's so important because they're realizing, you know what, we can't beat them. Let's just work with them.
Best idea, right?
Exactly.
It's a win-win situation.
Let's get something out of this.
Yeah.
And just to give you guys more context about NBC, 60%, about 60% of the NBC is owned by the Saudi government, and the other 40% is owned by the founder, Al-Walid Al-Ibrahimi. So this entire joint venture, it's not just a success for Shahid, for NBC, but it's a success for Saudi Arabia.
And we recently did, I think their financials came out. I remember, I think it was yearly financials or the first quarter financials. But Shahid is still in loss. But the report said that they've halved their losses. So if they were losing 100 million, now they're losing 50 million. This is just for reference. I'm not saying they're losing that much. But there is some millions in losses right now. But the CEO of Shahid, I remember in the report, he said that we are trying to make it profitable this year or at least by next year. So I think these things work. These partnerships work. And Netflix is not a small name. Netflix is a big name. I think they have the majority market as anyone else. Like ChatGPT has the majority market.
They do,
Netflix has the majority
but
market.
I'm reading something right now, and
Yeah.
it's basically saying that there are issues that they have limited Arabic language content. So they
Yeah.
only have 1% for Egypt and 4% for Saudi Arabia.
That's a
What for a
little less,
population
yeah.
where most of the people only speak Arabic? I mean, you cannot exist with them.
And I think Saudi is the better market to start this because Saudis, I've realized they're more Arabic speaking. They prefer more Arabic shows, more Arabic everything. That is why we see so many Arabic movies coming out of Saudi Arabia as well when the cinema ban was removed and more movies came out. I have to see a lot of movies. I've heard so many names that I have. There's this one which broke all records, The Night Watchman or something. I've heard it's a great movie. I will watch 4 or 5 movies of the Saudi cinema, the local cinema. But yeah, in UAE, I think because of the diversity that we have, like 80-85% expats, I think English becomes a medium of communication, and then English is mainly a part of your daily life. But in Saudi Arabia, Arabic plays a big role. So I think this in Saudi right now works a lot
Yeah.
for Netflix also because recently I started watching some Turkish drama. I was home alone
What's
for
it
2
called?
weeks. There's a lot. I don't even remember their Turkish names. I have a habit of
There's
watching
Min-
everything in their real language and then with subtitles. So I'm the other kind of the person. If I see a Spanish show, I'll see it in Spanish. So they're speaking in Spanish. I'll see the English
There's
subtitles.
Midnight at the Para Palace in Netflix. That one
Nice.
is great.
Yeah, but I think Turkish dramas have more space on Netflix and Arabic have less. So I think Turkish dramas, I think nearly 8-10 years ago, I remember a lot of dramas came out and they made it into the international market. There was, what was that long series which had like 50-60 episodes per something, Usman Bey or something?
Oh my God, I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're
right?
talking about.
That show like
No,
was...
it's called Osman.
It's
I believe,
yeah,
I believe that's
nice.
exactly what it's called.
So yeah, a lot of Turkish dramas came and all these things happened. Their actors became very famous globally. Recently, yeah, I was watching one of the movies, also Turkish movies. It had a nice plot, was 1 hour, like 10 minutes. I was like, why not short watch? I just Googled their celebrities. 18 million, 20 million, 35 million followers. And it's not even like one gender, it's both genders. I was like, they're so famous. Like, it's a lot, 20-25 billion followers. It's
No,
a
you
lot.
would not believe how much Arabic households love Turkish dramas.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's this one Turkish drama. It's called Fatma.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. The
Was
cover I've
famous.
seen, yeah.
You know, Majid, I actually grew up watching it. I remember every single when I would go to Sudan during my summer, every single day at 7 p.m.
You
the
have to sit
entire
down.
family, we would collectively watch it together. When I say collectively, I mean me, my mother, my parents, my cousins, my grandma. That show was everything to us.
Nice.
So they're really important.
So I think the way Turkish dramas entered the international market and became so big, and the celebrities became so big, and the industry overall then became so big, Arabic cinema has the tendency, has the potential. We recently did one story about their movie getting 500,000 ticket sales also. So it shows you that there is potential, and soon enough you will see that Arabic cinema will be a complete thing of its own, and the celebrities will not be like normal celebrities or regional celebrities. They will be global celebrities. And even right now, some of them are, but eventually it will grow into a bigger. There is a lot of potential. So moving on, I think the next story is a little warning based. So Qatar, I remember we did discuss this story like 4 or 5 months ago. Before,
We did.
yeah.
And honestly,
Yeah.
you know, when I think about it, there's this audio that's trending on TikTok, Majid, that goes like, well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of my
Yeah.
actions. And
So this is exactly what is happening. So Qatar is warning the European Union, basically all of Europe, that it may reconsider its liquefied natural gas exports unless Brussels backs off on a controversial new law. The law in question is the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, CSD Cube, I think, which aims to hold companies accountable for environmental and human rights standards across their supply chains.
so, according to a letter reportedly sent to Belgium's government and seen by Reuters, Qatar's energy minister called the EU law overly intrusive. He warned that measures like these could drive major energy exporters like Qatar away from the European market. There is no small threat. Qatar supplies between 12% and 14% of Europe's LNG, a critical source of energy, especially since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
And the CSDDD, the CSD Cube law, is still being negotiated, but it has already sparked pushback from global suppliers who argue it clashes with their own climate policies and could disrupt long-term energy contracts. Qatar's message puts added pressure on European companies like Shell and Total Energies that have strong ties with Doha.
So the European Commission has acknowledged receiving Qatar's concerns and says similar letters have come from other countries, while Brussels is proposing to delay and soften parts of the legislation. Qatar says those changes don't go far enough.
And as talks continue between EU lawmakers and member states, the future of the law and Europe's energy security remains uncertain. Qatar's move is a signal that energy diplomacy and climate regulation are on a collision course.
So basically, what happened here is the EU they have this sustainability law where basically if you're selling a good that is bad for the environment, you're going to be taxed 5%, I believe, on your annual profits. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, 5% is not a big number. 5% of, say, $1 million is $50,000.
These deals are in billions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that the amount is probably even more. So in this case, what's happening is it's so hypocritical in nature because you have the European Union that's like, oh my God, please give us liquid natural gas. We need it. We can't go to Russia. We really can't. We're boycotting it. And then they're like, okay, but since you're selling it to us and it's bad for the environment, we're going to tax you 5% on that. That doesn't make sense. I mean, to be honest with you, if I see Qatar cut it off, like, good
it
riddance.
won't be wrong. It's like you don't cut the hand which feeds you.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that. You're making them pay for the thing that they're doing for you. It's a you problem. It's you who doesn't want Russian gas. Okay, understandable. Whatever ideas that you have. But again, whoever is giving it to you and is supporting you is helping you go through the winters through that gas, making your houses warm, letting you cook. Don't tell them that, oh, we'll tax you extra. Why? Doesn't make sense, has no logical sense. I think Europe has gone too much into on one side of the scale. They want sustainability to become such a normal thing that they just want to finish everything else. Okay, it's a good thing. Recently, we've seen a lot of Middle Eastern and Gulf leaders who are heads of very important companies. Aramco head, I remember. Then Qatar, Al-Fali, the Minister of Energy, and he's the head of Qatar's biggest LNG company as well. Then we saw UAE's, what's his name? Sorry, His Excellency, the head of ADNOC. He also said, make energy great again. All of these people who sit on the top of this energy-rich region on companies which deal with energy, they've all said that it's impossible to just move away completely from oil, gas, coal, whatever conventional fossil fuel-based energies we have. They're very clear in this that you have to move hand in hand. Sustainability, UAE is doing whatever they can. They've built like 1/3 or 2/3 of the biggest solar plant in the world, the Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park. I remember, if I am naming it wrong, please don't say anything. But I think it's MBR Solar Park. They've built 2/3 of it. I think 1 or 2 parts are left. It's the biggest in the world. We celebrated 2 years of sustainability, not 1, 2 years of sustainability. And through that period, I remember a very good example to give. There was this Tetra Pak Chief Sustainability Officer. He came to our show. I remember he gave a very small example of how before the UAE's focus on sustainability, if you would dump like 1 ton of, scrap, I think, if the overall term can be said, if you dump 1 ton of scrap in some area for a ground burial, it was usually like 200, 300 dirhams per ton. Now it's like 1,000, 1,200. That's what he said. And he said that they have increased the price so people start reducing their waste. And he said people actually did, the companies actually did. They looked at their whole supply chain operation. They were like, we can reduce waste from here, waste from here.
Yeah.
So these countries are not just taking out oil and selling it to you and making the environment bad. They are covering it up through other initiatives. And you have to realize that whatever they're getting, you're eventually buying it.
You know
Stop
what?
buying. Either stop buying.
Yeah.
Be like, no, the next story is also about this, it's very ironic that people want the money and then the Anthropic CEO story. And this is the same. If you have a problem, don't take the money. If you have a problem, don't buy the gas. Right?
I think it's just a way to make their egos feel better.
Yeah.
But I think with sustainability, the best kind of progress I feel is slow progress in this case, because it is very difficult to grow out of a resource like fossil fuels that you've been using for the longest time ever. But the Gulf nations have particularly done this very smart thing of setting net zero goals, hopefully by 2030 or beyond 2030, and I think they're doing it in a sustainable, but a realistic way that can actually happen. Whereas in the West, you know, we've seen the Paris Agreement. It's like all these countries, they found loopholes. You know, like what do you mean you can get carbon credit? Just because you made an investment that is good for the environment, it's I think that it's really interesting. But just to move on to the next topic.
Shena Parveen is saying hi back. I think we should reply to comments so people keep engaging. Yeah, hi Shena Parveen.
And so basically a major AI controversy is erupting. It's been erupting for a while after a leaked internal memo from Anthropic revealed a dramatic shift in its stance toward Gulf investors. Basically, the memo, reportedly written by CEO Dario Amodi, suggested the company is now open to accepting funding from Middle Eastern countries. That's great, but the issue here is that they've previously rejected this money on ethical grounds, and just hear what he has to say.
And the backlash was swift, obviously. Badr Hamid Al-Ojan, a board member at Channels by STC, which is the Saudi telecom company, he publicly condemned Anthropic and its leadership. In a strongly worded LinkedIn post, Al-Ojan criticized Amade for referring to Gulf nations as dictators while still seeking their investments. Again, the same story with Qatar and EU. He called the hypocrisy deeply disappointing and pledged to delete the company's Cloud AI app from his phone.
And so Anthropic had long positioned itself as a leader in ethical AI, even walking away from funding opportunities due to moral concerns. But the memo now admits that upholding such ideals is nearly impossible when competing for $3 billion to $5 billion in capital, a move many are calling a betrayal of the company's values.
And the leaked comments have sparked a wave of criticism in the Gulf. There's so many LinkedIn posts, so many Instagram. Social media is full of people just telling him that you should have read your message before you sent it. And governments and sovereign wealth funds are investing heavily in AI innovation in the Gulf. We all know that. And now I think he has realized that, oh, I missed out on the money that everyone is getting. The episode risks damaging Anthropic's relationships in the region. I don't think it risks it. It's already damaged it, which it now seems to have view as a critical funding source.
So as Anthropic tries to stay competitive in the global AI race, the question is no longer just about performance, but integrity, which a lot of Arab leaders are questioning. I think what kills me the most about this entire story, and it's so hilarious, is you have Terjema's CEO and founder. It's an AI translating company. They recently read a very successful round. We covered it on Smashi. But their founder, you know what she did, Majid? I follow her on LinkedIn, so that's why I could see her comment. She was like, and this is exactly why people should instead use our LLM models instead of theirs.
Support local.
Because we do not stand for business like this. And I'm like, girl, you know what? Market yourself. I'm proud of you. Market yourself. This is great work. But I think in his case, like, just to reiterate what he said, he basically said that unfortunately you can't go for the principle of we can't work with bad people. So are you hearing what I'm saying? Like, he's calling them bad people.
And then he's like, but we will get money from
exactly. He said, we're going to get money from them, even though this would likely enrich dictators and authoritarian regimes. I mean, that's completely unacceptable. And like, why would you want to spread that kind of hate speech in your own company? Why are these the kind of messages that you're sending? They're not motivating.
Yesterday, I was looking through a lot of LinkedIn posts. So before this statement came out, it was reported by Wired, picked up by everyone else, obviously. Then the last thing that he said before this was that nearly 50 to 60% of the workforce in tech, in banking, in schooling even, he said all of them are going to be obsolete in the next year or two, because as AI models keep becoming better, they'll keep going away. And a lot of people came and criticized him for that as well, that it's not possible that you remove all the humanness out of literally everything. The idea of, if you talk about education, the idea of teaching will change, obviously, that now a student can write an essay in 1.5 second, 2 seconds maybe, if it's a longer one. But
what? Trust me, Turnitin will detect it.
Yeah.
It is scary. They don't give you your degree, Majid.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
again, see, you have to realize that you can't teach them writing now. Creative writing maybe to an extent, but writing at its core, you have a tool which does it for you. If you give it a proper brief, you give it the idea, you tell it to write in a casual way, you tell it to don't use a lot of gibberish, ultra robust language. Robust is his favorite word, I have realized from ChatGPT. But you cannot do a lot of things that in conventional schooling we guys did, right? You can't ask a student to go home, write an essay, because he will 100% use some sort of AI, then reword it around, make it go through 5 different AIs. That's not the problem. The problem is that you will have to change the way you teach. You'll have to make them think more. So classroom environment will become more important, not homework. Homework will become obsolete most probably. Classroom environment, thinking, questioning. I think you can't, prompting even. The way you prompt an AI, the way you write an AI to do this, to do that, that is to the core of it, it's like asking a good question, right? If you ask an AI a proper, good, detailed question, it will give you a proper, detailed, good answer. And there's a very... it's one of my favorite hadith. It's a saying by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that asking the right question is half of knowledge. I remember this because I used to have a diary when I was young, and my mother used to make me write one quote every day. So it was either hadith or a good saying, and I remember that one hadith, that half of the ilm, I think ilm is a Arabic word, right? Ilm is a Arabic
knowledge.
Word. Yeah, so it goes like, asking a good question is half of knowledge. So I was like, okay, so prompting will be taught, like, okay, you want to write an essay.
But trust me, they're pretty strict on this. I have a friend, Majid, she wrote an essay. She's all on her own. She wrote the entire essay on her own.
And they were like,
no, 1 second. Do you know what she did, though? At the end, she wrote the entire essay on her own. At the end, she was like, God damn it, I did not put any sources. I did not put any in-text references. So she was like, you know what? I'll just give the essay to ChatGPT and I'll ask it to give me references. She took the references and she put it on her essay. They realized some of those references were not real. Yeah, Chat does that sometimes. It gives you
have to check it, right?
I know.
That's your job to
do it.
do it.
References that are not real. She was not allowed to graduate. She had to rewrite the essay all over again. So trust me when I say this. No, you cannot do this AI thing with essays. Even by the way, if they cannot
thesis
prove,
obviously the
Magic,
longer
you know,
versions.
even if they cannot prove that you did not use artificial intelligence, you know what they'll do? The professor will be so petty, they'll give you 40%. And that is like 1% away from failure. So please, I do not recommend this. I don't do it.
I think, but you have to realize, how long can you carry it on? There will come a time when teachers will be like, okay, I know you'll write an essay using ChatGPT, but let's go about thinking about this topic in a different way, teaching in a different way.
Right.
So obviously, it's going to be a lot of disruption.
Your choice of sources has to be better.
Yeah,
your choice of more from
even the sources. I can ask ChatGPT to give me, I want sources from this place. So even that will happen. I think it's more about thinking. Now you'll have to think more. The idea of discourse, not arguments, not debates, not speeches. The idea of discourse, the Aristotelian proper way of discourse, that you both talk to each other to learn something, that will come back. To be honest, it's a lot good for students nowadays, because information is at their fingertips, literally. Our fingertips was still delayed because we had to Google and open a link and be like, which one do I trust? Do I trust this source? Do I not? With them, they're like, yeah, bro, ChatGPT, what's up? This, need this, and this, and this. And they get all of it.
Yeah.
So it's quicker access to information. So they have to think more. So even I remember Turnitin when ChatGPT was launched in November 2023, I think. As soon as it came, Turnitin for the first, I think, 2-3 months, they were like, yeah, we can detect it. And after like 2 months, they were like, sorry, we can't. No one can. Yeah, and even now you Google, what's it called? Plagiarism checkers. You'll have 1 million of them. They can't with 100% certainty say that it's AI generated because AIs have become so advanced. You can tell it to write it in a very casual way without using any of these words. Don't use technical language. Remember you guys were Googling yourselves on ChatGPT? Like searching for
it was,
so
it was literally
knows your tone.
Imagine it was literally telling people where I grew up, how I used to work for Lush, everything. But just to get back to this topic, I'm so sorry, I just have something extra to add here. I think what was so interesting is in the comment section on the Financial Times piece on this entire story, and even in our own comment section, people were so funny. They were like, we feel like he really does need to shut up because number one, Claude AI, their AI model, is not even at the top. I believe it only has like 4% of the total market share. Obviously, ChatGPT is number one, but it's not number one. They're burning so much cash so that they could actually keep it running for people. And it almost got me on this. And then in our own comment section, people were saying that he was Israeli. However, when you actually research it, it's nowhere. I can't find it. I can't find, like, it doesn't immediately say this person is from XYZ.
Yeah.
And I think we've discussed this before, Majid, how sometimes for these founders, they have to almost cover where they're from so that they can get funding, and vice versa. Also for Arab founders, they probably don't want to reveal that they're Palestinian because they're not going to get the funding that they want. But
we have so many examples. I remember there's this newsletter that I've subscribed to. Rich subscribed to you also. I think Baraka.
Was it TechCrunch?
No, the Baraka one. Remember there was a part. We have now AI help assisted investing something. We did a story on that, and we wrote Canadian because we tried to find to our best. I used literally all the ChatGPTs, all the bots out there to try and find that guy's nationality. Is he Palestinian? Is he Jordanian? Everywhere it said Canadian because he has a Canadian passport. Good enough. We wrote Canadian, and he messaged back to our founder, and he was like, I would have loved it if you wrote Palestinian because I am Palestinian. And the point was that we didn't know because we dug deeper than the deepest pits. No one mentioned him as Palestinian, right?
Forbes, and usually they do say the
even with a lot of other founders, you always, like Amjad Masad, we cover him a lot. He's the founder of Replit. It's a Silicon Valley startup, helps you make apps through an agent.
And it's doing great.
Yeah, and we always write Jordanian American. But actually, he's also Palestinian. So he's Palestinian, Jordanian, American.
And people got offended. But it's like this information is not publicly out there.
You can't even find it.
You cannot make up somebody's nationality because, okay, fine, if you get it almost right, that's okay. But if you get it completely wrong, that is just absolutely
also, there is a problem. He is from Palestine. A lot of founders are from Palestine. But when the Nakba happened, when they were thrown out from their own homeland by Israel, they moved to so many countries. They moved to Egypt. They moved to Syria to an extent, smaller extent. A lot of them moved to Jordan. So all of them nearly got Jordanian passports. So I don't know how we can find their Palestinian apart from them telling us.
But
because everyone writes Jordanian to them.
Just on the point of why these nationalities of these founders are so important, it does dictate the kind of product that you're going to receive. We just saw a while ago how with Grok, when someone asked, who's the best figure who could fight anti-white rhetoric, it responded saying Adolf Hitler. Obviously now I feel that they fixed its engine. Another great example, one of the co-founders of OpenAI and one of its top scientists is this guy called Ilya His name is Ilya. And Ilya is its top scientist. And then you have Dario here, the founder and CEO of Anthropic, who's speaking about the Gulf like this. So my point here is to say, don't just watch Sam Altman's video of guys like, you know that your messages with chat aren't private, can go in a court case. You have to realize that your messages can be used for so much more when these are the kind of founders that are leading the directive of these companies. So I would be more careful. I'm right now I'm listening to my own advice too, because I did not realize it either. But yeah.
See, I've realized over so many years of my life, everything you put on internet, even if it's like the best privacy app with the best privacy settings, with anything, it stays there. I have this feeling, I don't know if theoretically or technically it's right or wrong, but I still think whatever you put, it's there somewhere.
Majid, are you still against Apple Pay?
Yeah, I still don't use it. A lot of people ask me like, bro, why? I was like, still a physical card is better for me.
So you're telling me every single time you input all of your card details all over again?
Yeah, I've realized that I've remembered the number, so I'm like, done.
This is crazy.
Yeah, in my time, we used to remember all the numbers. Like in my phone, I still remember my brother's first number, my father's first number, my mother's first number. Like 4 or 5 friends, I still remember their numbers because we had a habit of keeping them in mind. And then in Pakistan, after like some time when we got smarter phones with a lot of numbers that you could save, you would get robbed. So you had to remember the important numbers to call someone from a telephone or something. So yeah, we've gone through like this. But yeah, last story for the day, the Dubai-based beauty mogul, entrepreneur, one of the most famous people you'll find in the Gulf region, Huda-Kim, has sparked controversy. I won't say it's a controversy, it's a very good calling out to Kim Kardashian, and she's publicly called her out over her stance on Israel. So the Iraqi-American founder of Huda Beauty posted a sharp comment on Instagram reacting to a recent episode of the Tucker Carlson show. I think he's become one of our favorites also, Tucker Carlson, where journalist Anna Kasparian criticized US military support for Israel and highlighted Israel's arms transfer to Azerbaijan used in the ethnic cleansing of Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh.
So referring to the segment, Kattan wrote, you know, I always wonder why Kim Kardashian pretends not to know that and supports Israel while using the Armenian genocide as part of her heritage. So the remark quickly went viral. It actually had the most likes in the comment section, reigniting debates around celebrity activism and moral consistency, especially among such high-profile figures with global influence.
And Kardashian, whose late father was of Armenian descent, has previously spoken about the Armenian genocide, but her recent response to a pro-Palestine protester at Germany's OMR Business Festival drew mixed reactions. When interrupted during her panel, she simply said, "Free everybody," and added, "I sympathize with the people of Israel and with those in Palestine."
And for those who might think, like, this is something so nice to say, someone told her, "Free Palestine," and her response was, "Free everybody."
Yeah.
So that means that she's probably under that same sentiment of Hamas.
She doesn't want to lose the show, I think.
You think? And so according to an Associated Press investigation, in fact, Israel supplied nearly 70% of Azerbaijan's weaponry from 2016 to 2020. Those same weapons, including drones and missiles, were used in the 2023 offensive in Nagorno-Karabakh. Human rights groups have since called the campaign in a textbook case of ethnic cleansing.
As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues, the genocide by Israel continues. Huda-Kim's comments have intensified scrutiny of celebrities who voice selective political stances while maintaining business empires. With nearly 60 million followers, her post and signals growing pressure on influencers to confront global events with greater transparency and consistency.
Look, I think instead of keeping up with the Kardashians so much, she should probably keep up with the genocides that are going on and give them more attention. But, you know, for me, what's interesting is if you actually take a look at Kim Kardashian, by the way, it is true. All she does talk about is the Armenian genocide. It is something that is.
Never talks about Israel's role?
No, she does not. Even and she is a very grand supporter of Israel. She does hold that Western mindset of, oh, this is all happening because of Hamas and because of Hamas not freeing the hostages and how many hostages even are they? Does that even amount?
Like
does that even amount to killing over 50,000 people? That does not make sense. But I think for me here, what's interesting is she owns something called Skims.
Yeah.
Skims, it's this body wear brand. It's extremely successful, and it's
My
actually
wife
really.
has it.
I do too, and it's
Everyone
extremely
has
good
it.
quality. And by the way. This is not the first time that Kim Kardashian has been called out for being tone deaf. Before she made Skims, she called it another name, Majid. Her name's Kim, right? She called it Kimono. She called it Kimono, and the internet went crazy on her. I was like, oh my God, is this a moment where they're going to finally cancel Kim Kardashian? And then
She changed it.
her PR was really smart. They came up with Skims. And by the way, now, Skims actually sells through this region through Altair Group's UNAS. And Altair Group, if you know them, they franchise a lot of brands in the region. I can just name a bunch: Maserati, Ferrari, Land Rover, Prada, Bulgari, Bloomingdale's. They have a lot of brands, and it's just so interesting because she sells it here in this region, and it makes me think that, you know, I don't think she's doing this intentionally, by the way. I just think that she just does not understand what's going on. I mean, she called her brand Kimono.
Yeah.
Why would you think that would fall well with people?
I think sometimes these people, or even not her, if her marketing or PR team, they must have thought, oh, it's a nice, cool wordplay and they can do it. Doesn't work always. It's the only nice wordplay I've seen last is Humane, the Saudi AI company. The way they
You
put
mention this
AI,
every time.
yeah. No, sometimes you have to
Yeah.
appreciate the genius that people come up with. Because in this time, again, coming back to AIs, everyone is getting their ideas from, oh, give me 10 smart lines, smart taglines. But if someone actually comes up with humane, it's a nice idea. Hopefully it's not ChatGPT, but even if it is, it was a good idea by ChatGPT and the person asking it. So yeah. Yay. Okay. My wife is getting weird in comments, but we have Mildred. I would try to give a shout out to everyone. Millie is live on the show. Hello, Millie. She's our business operations, housekeeping. She helps us get everything that we need in the office. Thank you, Millie, for being here. And thank you, our production team.
And
yeah.
that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 2.5 million monthly listeners. Recently got an update in the morning on the channel. We're going up and up. We've started, I think, distributing on multiple platforms. So if you're one of the new listeners which are listening to us from some other platform, thank you very much. If you like the show, if you have any feedback, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're listening, just put in a comment. We'll read that comment. We'll make sure to read it and include that feedback in our show. Thank you so much. Have a great day and see you on Wednesday.